Hey everyone, so this is going to be my 9th and 10th chemo update video. My 9th chemo session went along pretty normal, nothing big happened. Probably the biggest change or thing to kind of talk about was the youth cancer team who helped me out and talked to me, which includes like a social worker, psychologist, and another two helpers, which I don't know if maybe they're called social workers too. They were talking how they went to the Youth Cancer Summit in Sydney, and apparently went really well. And most of the people who were there were post-chemo, kind of post-cancer, and they were kind of 19 and above. That was kind of like the biggest, that was like the demographics of the people who attended. And I did really want to go, but it kind of, I probably could have gone anyway because my chemo, my side effects were still very mild. But just the idea of having to drive to Sydney, I know it's close to Newcastle, it's only 2 hours, but it was kind of like, it kind of just felt like a big effort still to go and do that. And I wasn't really sure how it was going to turn out, what it was going to be. I didn't know if it'd be something that would really stimulate me, but hearing that the people who were there were people from kind of my age group, well, the majority of them were people from my age group or around that age, and a lot of them were post chemo as well, makes me think that if they do it next year, which I hope they do because apparently it went really well, that I'll be able to go next year and I can talk about that experience when it comes, if I'm still doing videos by then. So I don't know if anyone watching here has been to like one of those kind of youth cancer summit things, or like I don't know, like some kind of conference or summit where that's kind of like cancer oriented, and I'd love to hear if it was a good experience or not. I'd imagine it would be. And my youth cancer team also, they had like a little exhibition there, and they got it written in the newspaper that they took a lot of photos of young people with tattoos that they got after cancer and chemo, and so the tattoo just to represent their experience and such. And you know, I thought that was a really cool idea, and I looked through the photos and they were nicely done. And you know, tattoos is something that I have considered because I've always been very warm and open to tattoos, but I've never found ones that I've liked enough to kind of commit to and say, yes, that's the tattoo that I want on my body. And normally I like a lot of very big and extensive tattoos, and I don't really think I want big tattoos on my body. And I feel like because I have like my scars from the biopsy and the port, that kind of helps visualize and kind of represent my cancer / chemo journey thus far. So I don't feel like I need to add a tattoo. Whereas I might if I didn't have any scars at all. So that was kind of the 9th chemo, and then the 10th chemo, unfortunately, which actually went over Christmas because I had to get to chemo on the 22nd, and then over Christmas I was feeling really horrible, and I felt a lot more horrible than I normally do. It was kind of not like the first horror, the first chemo horror. It was more like, I don't know, maybe the 3rd or 2nd. It was just like, it was crappy. I had some mouth tingling pains, which was, I was just like, no, don't come back. I think it was also because I wasn't as on top of my anti mouth thrush medication, which I normally start taking it once I start getting, like once I've had chemo, I start taking that anti-thrush nystatin medicine to stop any kind of excess bacteria building up in my mouth and creating those white streaks and pain. So this time coming around, I'm going to be on top of that, and I don't know if maybe that, like because my body was under more stress, then my fatigue got worse than normal, or maybe because it's around Christmas time I was pushing myself more. I don't know, but I hope this next time, the last two, thank goodness there's only two, I hope the next two are a lot more mild and simple and just easier, like the ones in the middle, like the chemos that I've had in the middle. And on the last New Year's Day I thought that I was getting a UTI, and so I thought I better get antibiotics for this because if not, this could get worse because I'm on chemo. I don't know if it's a big deal. Normally these things aren't really a big deal, but because I'm on chemo, it might be a big deal. So when I rang the hematology people, well, they weren't there because it's New Year's Eve. And so then the lady told me, oh, maybe just come into ED since you're in chemo to get the antibiotics. But that turned into like a 4 or 5 hour wait in the emergency process before I even got my antibiotics. So that was just a long, sad way to spend New Year's Eve. But in the evening, I had a great time with friends and just chilling and chatting and watching the fireworks in the city at 9 p.m. and then the Sydney Harbour ones on the laptop. Naturally, New Year's Eve is a time of a lot of reflection and contemplation and, you know, thinking about goals and things. And I obviously know that 2016 is hopefully going to be a lot better than 2015. 2015 obviously turned out to be quite unfortunate in many ways, even though I had a lot of good moments still, which I'm really grateful for. But overall 2016 hopefully would be much more my year. But kind of like reading on social media and stuff, there's a lot of people who have had like amazing years. 2015 was their year, and obviously I know the people who, like me, who didn't have a great 2015, they're not writing a status about it. They're not saying, oh, 2015 was crap for these reasons or whatever. But yeah, it's still kind of like, it just, not to rain on anyone's parade, but you do think a little bit like, they had such a great year. They kind of moved forward, I guess, in all these different ways. And I unfortunately haven't. In many ways, I've kind of moved back. But 2016, hopefully, might be my year. And then, for other people, that will be their worst year, unfortunately. They're just some of the thoughts that I've been thinking about during this New Year time. But overall, I'm just thinking, only 2 more chemo sessions to go. Then that PET scan to hopefully say, yes, you are still cancer-free. Yes, everything's going fine. Then I suppose I just have to remove my port and then keep doing my checkups. And hopefully I won't be dealing with the hospital anymore. And even though it's still been a crappy year because of cancer and chemo, I'm really grateful that overall my chemo experience has been a lot on the better side compared to people's stories who I know they have really severe, consistent pain that continues from chemo session to chemo session. I've had still hard, but still a lot easier chemo sessions compared to others. Mine haven't all been horrible, and I haven't had to be hospitalized. I know some people have to be hospitalized because infections do get out of control. That I've heard of people going into comas over different infections and bugs and illnesses and flus while they've been on chemo. So I'm just super happy that hasn't been my experience. So that's one thing that I'm definitely grateful. In 2015, even though I still had to go through chemo, that my chemo, I guess, was, and the side effects on average were more mild, even though my first one was just so bad. So that's my update. I just have 2 more sessions to go. I keep saying it, but that's because I'm really excited that I only have 2 more to go. But at the same time, I'm like, come on. It's just been such a long process. But yeah, I have another more professional structured video planned. It's just going to be like talking about the basics of ABVD and the short and longer term side effects that come from using that kind of chemotherapy regimen. I think the reason why I'm going more structured videos as well is because after this whole chemo process is done and I don't really have updates to make in the same way about chemo, even though obviously it would have some updates to do with like my post-chemo recovery and such, I still want to be able to kind of create content. At least I think that's something that I think I want to continue in 2016, is continue making some videos in some ways. And I think that it will help me because of my personality and my interests. It would help me to make very structured, more professional looking, short, informative videos on different aspects of chemo and Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer. Not only for other people, to help them if they go through it and they kind of want to see a video of it instead of reading this information online, but also I think for me to kind of process all the information and really solidify the info that I have read, and so that way I can obviously make the best and informed decisions about my health and my body, and to remind myself of these different longer term side effects of things that I have to kind of be mindful of. And also I'll probably want to make not just any like cancer chemo medical kind of videos, but also probably like my 5 affirmations video, just things that are more to do with mindfulness and good ways of thinking and kind of more psychology based videos. So please leave a comment if you'd like, about summits or conferences, about New Year's and New Year's time, about any resolutions that you might have or thoughts that you've kind of reflected on about the year or the year to come, and or my thoughts about changing things up for the YouTube channel in terms of making slightly more structured videos. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.